Bonjour tout le monde. Morning all.
Hello, Siddiq. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me, Siddiq?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So we'll start in a few minutes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello, Tola.
Okay, this is level 02. Let's what's next? Friday. Cardi is a chairman. As the chairman joined.
Was trying to connect him. We don't have him yet.
Well, this is level 02. We need to welcome our participants and Mr. Moderator. So can you quickly just check your program and let's see what we have at 11:02. Our participants know that our Victor keeps to time and we don't joke with people's official schedule.
Mr. Tola, I think you can go ahead. Just start with the presentation.
Hannah,
Yeah, Tola.
yeah, I want to commend you for the strong panelists.
I can't hear you. Tola, are you there?
What did you say?
Yeah, I didn't get you. Can you repeat? Come again, please.
Okay, Victor, thank you for a good job you have done putting these strong panelists together, and it's a very good thing for Victor to have 10 participants joining at 11:03. That shows the interest and commitment they have for this webinar. So I'm thanking you for putting up a very good panel for this webinar. So if we are set to begin,
there are some background noise.
Okay, not from me. Not from me, but I think someone was, there's no other mic on anyway. They can check the background. If no, there is no other mic on. So the background noise is gone. Okay, I think the chairman is coming, is trying to come in now. So chairman, you are welcome.
Good afternoon. How are you, members?
Okay, thank you. We have the chairman. So with the chairman around, let me yield the floor to Mr. Chairman to please open this webinar while I give you welcome remarks after him. Welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Much appreciated. And I hope I am clear. Am I clear to everybody?
Yeah, we can hear your voice, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Welcome to our webinar. It's our second quarterly webinar on cybersecurity innovation, and the emphasis is on how can Africa contribute. I think what we would have seen is that from our series of webinars and discussions that have happened, this particular theme is very important in that as we see an uptake in users moving into, let me show my video. I see I'm not, this video is actually off. I had closed my camera, sorry about that. So as we have, I was saying, as we have seen that from our user and consumer perspective, we ought to actually make sure that we've got standards, and those standards has to be put across so as to protect our user base from the whole malicious that are happening in the space. Even professionals themselves and those who are techno-savvy, they are grappling with this cyberspace. While we might have known this space to have been in a particular state 2 years ago, there's been a market change in this market. You could see and observe that the numbers themselves, they have exponentially grown. You could see also from a perspective of technology adoption itself. Even people who had never in their lives conducted conferences through an online mechanism, everyone at this particular point in time, as long as they have got little access to technology, they have been exposed. And while they've been exposed, you will see that cybersecurity, especially innovation in that space, comes to the fore, because you find lots of a need for this to actually happen. I would like to, from on behalf of AFICTA, to thank the panelists to availing themselves. Sorry for the glitches earlier on. I think as we're coming into the meeting, it was dropping, and so we have to apologize, and let's hope that our session will not be interrupted by line drops and all that. I would like to also thank our moderator to actually put this together and to take us through this particular panel discussion. I will hand over to the moderator, and we thank you for making the time. Much appreciated for that.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Thank you for your opening remarks. So allow me to introduce you to each panelist. Okay, so let's start with the first one, because we have a bunch of high-level panelists here for this e-conference. So the first one is Mr. Sheikh Omar Ouedraogo, Deputy General Manager of Talentis Burkina Faso. So Sheikh Omar, you can say hi to the participants.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, thank you, Sheikh. And the second one is Sidik Toure, the Program Director, Banking and Critical Services Security for Orange, Middle East and Africa. Sidik, can you say hi to the participants?
Hello, good morning all.
Thank you, Sidik. Now, we have also among us Heloj Bionao. Mr. Heloj Bionao is the Chief Information Officer of MTN Côte d'Ivoire. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Heloj.
Thanks.
And we have also Mr. Fabien Ndiomo, the Regional Information Security Head for West and Central Africa of MTN Group. Mr. Fabien, can you say hi?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Laikana. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Fabien.
To answer your questions. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now he just joined, Mr. Jean-Robert Ontome, Director of Africa CERT. Jean-Robert, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Jean-Robert. Thanks for joining. I want to thank all the panelists for their availability. They have some busy agenda, but they accept to be available to talk about these important subjects. So I think that we'll start. Okay. So Mr. Chairman, we can go directly to the panel, right?
Correct, sir. Let's do that. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So my first question is to all the panelists. Each of them will have to answer this question. Tell me, in your opinion, what is Africa's current contribution to the global cybersecurity ecosystem? This question is to Sheikh Omar. First, can you give a response to this question?
Okay, thank you, Laikana. Thank you, Chairman, for this opportunity. Actually, I listened to the speech from the chairman. It was very interesting for me because it has a kind of answer to that question. You know, on my point of view, first talking about Africa, for me, it's a little bit complex because, you know, for people like me in Francophone Africa, in French-speaking countries, we don't have a very broad picture of what's happening in other parts of Africa. And this is something that's not so good talking about the continent. So what I'm going to talk about is much focus on the West Africa or Central Africa, but on French-speaking countries. I think that the contribution we are supposed to give, first, I can see it as something very strong. But what I see so far is that it's much more about awareness, you know, because you have those kind of webinars, you have conferences, you have seminars trying to raise awareness for people, because our digital infrastructure in some of the countries and our use of ICT, even if it explodes in recent years, is not as big as in other parts of the world. This is the first point. And yet, being a professional in cybersecurity in the area, I'm seeing that so many people, so many organizations still don't consider this to be a major problem, major issue. And yet, people are much more focused about the risks, and they are not talking about how to contribute. And even, I'm going to talk about something very simple. If you have audits, or you have, you produce kind of reports like that, we are keeping it. We are not sharing as we should do. Of course, you know that you are not going to expose the vulnerabilities of your organization online, but you need to share some data with the major players in cybersecurity. And this is not happening how it is supposed to happen. You have kind of cybersecurity agencies in few countries, but some of them are not working properly because they don't have budget. I can talk about Burkina Faso, for example. We have an agency, but it started less than a couple of years ago, and I'm not sure they are producing everything they can produce. So not just to make it short and not go further, our contribution is very low because we need to get a better organization of the field. You know, this is the first one. And also we need to raise awareness in the area. This is the first point. For me, the contribution will be to raise awareness so that we know which are the risks we are facing and how to mitigate those risks, for example. Thank you, Laika.
Thank you, Sheikh Omar, for your response. So, to summarize what you are saying, the contribution of our continent is very low, and we need a better organization, actually. So we cannot say, actually, in your opinion, that we have a big contribution in the cybersecurity global ecosystem, right? Okay. So the same question to Siddiq. Over to you, Siddiq.
Hello. Morning all. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Laikana. I don't know if you can see me.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, thank you. In my point of view, about the contribution of the African cybersecurity ecosystem, we can notice that in the last 10 years, we have adoption rate of the technologies in Africa around 344% in Africa, and compared to the rest of the world, where we have almost 107% in the rest of the world. We notice that we have different companies which emerge to a new economy. We have some company like Orange Money, we have Sinet Pay, we have Paystack in Nigeria, and we noticed recently Wave, which is a new challenger we come. So we noticed that we have a new economy which has a rising into Africa, and we will need to have to invest a lot into cybersecurity to guarantee the security of the different companies and also support the development. So in my point of view, we need to invest a lot into cybersecurity. And as the first panelist said, we noticed that in our countries is not enough for this moment. So we will need to work again with the different contributors like Ghana and others, and so Talentis, to invest again into the cybersecurity ecosystem to support the different ecosystems, the different economy we are rising.
Okay, thank you very much, Sadiq. So we can say again that in the opinion of the second panelist, Africa contribution is low in the cybersecurity ecosystem. Okay, no problem, is well noted. So let's go to the third one, Mr. Eloge Bionao. So what is your opinion about this question?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Laikana. And I would like also to say thank you for the chairman for his speech, and was really give a kind of guideline where we are today and what is exactly the need for the Africa in terms of cyber security or even cyber crime. I will say, first of all, what are clearly the challenge we are facing today in terms of continent. I think that the rapid growth of the data has a clear impact on exactly the security. And secondly, the technology, which is now prevalent, is taking in terms of utilization is really one of the key major players on that role also. So basically, Africa is also facing like those type of issues regarding the fraud, espionage, and all the related cyber threats. So we have normally to be strong on that area. I think that is the same which was being said already by Sheikh and also by Siddiq. So normally when we check and we need really to have a strong information, like we say that information security or even fighting against all the cyber activists and cyber crime. But unfortunately, if we take all our government, the idea is to push on the economy side without really thinking about what are we going to keep that in secure manner, which is a clear aspect which has been forgot by all the government. If I take some of the statistics like the one I'm having from the World Bank, we'll see that out of 50 countries, we have only 8 which are really prepared on that to having kind of policies, which have laws. Those countries also have a kind of or applying the GDPR. Some of them normally have vesting clearly in the space of cyber crime, cyber activities. So we will see that out of 55, we have only 8. And if we take mostly those countries you are investing on that, you only have, you don't even have the French countries. You have Nigeria, you have Ghana, you have Uganda, you have Tanzania, most of the English-speaking area. And definitely we think that on the French countries, there's still really a need to be improved. And there is a clear need even for securitization or protection from our side. So I will just say that and just waiting for the others question, and we'll see exactly how we're taking further.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will have another question for you because you said something very interesting about the French-speaking country, but I will get back to you after. Okay, so let's go to the next panelist, Fabien Ndiomo. Can you give me your opinion, give your opinion to all the participants about this question?
Okay, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairperson, to come to me for these good questions. When talking about the contribution of Africa in the global security in the world, I will be aligned with all the panelists where we notice that the contribution of Africa is very low. I was just checking yesterday the last report coming from the Global Security Index. That was the last one was done in 2018. This is an index which is measured by the ITU every year, but it was not done during the year 2019 because of the coronavirus. However, the one that I'm having in on front of mine is that in terms of survey, they did a survey, and based on that survey, I noticed that Africa was the second, provided the second contribution in terms of answering the question that was asked. That was, I was just like, wow. Then it means that for me, even if the other capabilities like infrastructure, research and development stream are not in place, it shows me that Africa is really interested on putting in place some kind of on bringing some kind of contribution to the cybersecurity, to the global cybersecurity. It means that there are some blocking points that avoid Africa to maybe move forward. We will maybe take it later in this this discussion. However, the contribution of Africa is very, very low. But it is that contribution is all that innovation is triggered by the digitalization of most of the company, and we all know that most of the African company are coming from the other areas, and those other areas which has key focus on security are pushing Africans to understand the risk and to understand the risk around those different applications and tools that they are using. And I've seen that it's a good news that we start seeing some government putting some framework around the security. We have some framework in Cote d'Ivoire, some framework as well in Cameroon, in some of the French countries, but it is something which is actually available for almost all the English-speaking country in the Africa. Then we still have a long way to go to maybe start seeing the contribution of Africa in the cybersecurity area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fabian. Thank you for your input. And now, John Robert, what is your opinion also about this question as the director of Africa CERT? I think that you have a visibility about this case around Africa. Can we have your input about that?
Yes, thank you very much, Lekana, for this opportunity. I will be a little bit optimistic. And the reason is that I wanted to look from the history back to where we are today. And there has been, even if it's little, there has been some tremendously progress in the way that Africa is tackling the challenges, but also Africa has a unique chance to make the difference, and it is making the difference in this global ecosystem. So if we look not long ago, and I mean around the 90s, where we started building infrastructure, there were a few technical professional, awareness was lacking. The government was struggling to pass a reform that will allow services and allow and scale services. But again, as I said, the situation is changing. As more people are moving around, digital safety and security are becoming both priority and vital elements in the continent development. And we have even seen that in how the African government has responded. At least a few of them has responded during the COVID challenge. You can see now clearly an increasing number of African countries getting involved, for example, in cyber policy development, in capacity building, and increasingly, interestingly, from the international community, Africa is seen as the continent of hope, the continent of wisdom, the continent of trust, while the need, as you know, in that cyber ecosystem in cybersecurity, while the need to inject trust and confidence in the internet is becoming huge. So on that, I think that Africa has something key. I have also few statistics from the situation awareness as Africa Search, looking at and also stimulating development both from the African Union side and also in various regional organizations. You might know that ECOWAS has just now established a kind of global national cybersecurity strategy for the whole ECOWAS country. The number of incident response team, incident response and security teams in the African continent, even if we might say that there are still some need to put them with resources and additional capacity building to strengthen their operation. Last year in 2020, we had 21 national teams in the continent. This year, in 2021, we have number 27 teams. We have more countries that are setting or putting together national cybersecurity strategy to set their priority in the ecosystem. You might have heard about the UNGG, the government group of expert process, where we have seen an increasing number of African countries participating. We have the UN open-ended working group also, and some discussion related to cyber diplomacy, where some African countries are now joining, making key contribution. I was earlier in an African Union meeting discussing about the challenges related to cybercrime and cybersecurity. And over there also, despite the challenges, the continent is putting together some structure for cooperation, for coordination, and for multi-stakeholder engagement. On the technical side, we've seen some improvement around what we call the African technology makers. There are about 600 hubs that drives technology development, if I may say so, in the continent. And we have seen an appetite for application security, product security issue related to investigation, vulnerability investigation and disclosure. On the naming industry, I mean, the CCTLDs, the LIR that are key in the African technical structure. There has been some significant step. There is also an increasing vertical collaboration between African countries. For example, one of them is the drill that are being organized in the continent. In 2 days, you will have about, I think, about 20 of the African CSIRT getting together with their international partners to conduct some large-scale cyber exercise. And we have seen also African teams participating in international cyber exercise coming up in the top 5, top 3. So I think that all is not lost. The continent is making, with whatever we have, the continent is making progress. And we also have that key component of trust being seen as the continent where trust is more built, and due to the way that our communities are organized, that are key assets for Africa in the global cyber ecosystem. So on this note, I will stop there. And if you have further questions, we can debate around it.
Okay, thank you very much, Robert, for your feedback. And as you said, your contribution is very optimistic. Okay, so regarding Africa, we see that in terms of policy, some government is working. Okay, some government are working on it, and everything are moving. So we can be optimistic, and we can say, based on your opinion, that things are going to change, even if our contribution are low, but things are going to change. So my second question will be to Sheikh Omar. So Sheikh, can you tell me what are the responsibilities of public and private sector of our continent so that we can contribute and innovate more in terms of solution? When I'm talking about solution, I'm talking about cybersecurity solution, because as I used to say, and as the chairman said during the opening remark, we are consumer. So today, what are the responsibilities in public and private sector for that?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. I think that the responsibility, in my opinion, first go to the government, to the public organization. For instance, we need at least a kind of organization or public organization to set guidelines. You know, the first point, and I think it was very interesting that our panelists for Africa said, talked about it, is about the policing cybersecurity. It's very interesting because you had, when talking about cybersecurity, many of our countries in Africa were guided by the convention of the Budapest Convention, and then the Malabo Convention, talking about cybersecurity in Africa. And look at the countries, not all of them are ratified those conventions. This is the first point. And it's very because talking about Bernard, I think, talked about the surge of use of mobile banking, mobile money, for example, application, and we see that it's very critical to have security for those infrastructure, those platforms. So coming back to that, we need at least a government policy to make it compulsory for those kind of companies or organizations to maintain a secure infrastructure. For example, we have an agency, Burkina Faso, called Agence Nationale de la Sécurité des Systèmes d'Information. It's a kind of public agency which is supposed to set the guidelines for the use of cybersecurity for the companies and something like that. For example, you have in our countries those banks, insurance companies. We don't know if they are having a vulnerability assessment or audits or something like that. We don't know. They are holding people money, they are holding people data, and we don't know exactly how what they are doing to protect all those things. And this is not something normal. We need at least on the public sector to set guidelines, very strict guidelines for that. Telling them, for instance, that If you have a breach or something like that, you need to send a clear notification. If you have suffered any kind of a cybercrime, but this is not very clear now in many countries. And it's what the public sector can do. At least a good policing for cybersecurity. This is very important. This is the first point. Another point, I think, regarding now the private sector is about, all those companies, all those integrators working on cybersecurity. We need to be able to offer proper services to companies and organizations in the country. But even here, we need good policing to set the rules and the boundaries of what we are allowed to do and what we are not allowed to do. Because as far as we are dealing with people's infrastructure, we are dealing with data, there are a lot of things to take in account. For example, if we are in charge of the cyber, we are assisting a private company on its security matters, there are data we are not allowed to share. The company has its own guidelines regarding the use of data, but we also have some national rules we need to abide by. So that makes very important that the policing should not only focus on the public, but also on the private. We should have, there's a trust also to build, because you are not going to work with the first contractor you see. It needs to be something, a company with skilled staff. We are able to work on that, because we both know that when we come to cybersecurity, the people, the human resource is the most important. If you are bringing someone not trustworthy in your organization, it's very dangerous. So for me, policing is very important, and our countries need to work on it. It's good. We have, I've shared a document on the ECOWAS cybersecurity and cybercrime strategy. This is for ECOWAS, 16 countries. It's very interesting to read and see what is on track. And for me, it's, I can be optimistic for that, but we have no time. We need to go fast. We need to go fast. Our governments need to know that, and we need to work together. It's not only the government in our countries, but the private sector as well need to be involved in it, so that we have multiple stakeholders involved in it to get the right points on it. That's my point.
Okay, thank you, Sheikh, for that. But you were talking about the notification of incidents. Why do you think that it's not actually implemented? Why it's not really implemented? Because I think that in North Africa, I think that in some country this is something implemented. And for example, in Tunisia, for example, this policy is set, and they also the National Cybersecurity Agency put a policy that I think they say the private sector, so for some critical sector, they have to do, for example, vulnerability assessment or penetration testing at some time. Okay, so why this kind of policy is not set in all our continent, in all the country? I mean,
yes. Coming back to that point, once again, I'm talking about what I know the best. It's about my country and a couple of countries. Is that those organizations, the public sector, the government sees the importance of having it, but the fact is that our country thinks they have other priorities. So those kind of organization, the agency we are talking about, that doesn't have enough resources for that. They are not hiring enough skilled resources to handle that. So at the end of the day, these are agencies with very, very weak resources. They are not able to put the pressure on those private companies or those private organizations so that they will be sharing it. And also, if they don't have those resources, they cannot get all the policing in place so that this happens. For instance, in Burkina Faso, even if you go to the, we have a computer emergency resource team in Burkina Faso. Africa should mention it. But if you go on their website, it's not updated. This is not normal. You know, it's not updated. You can get an alert, I mean, from time to time, but this is not normal. If you see how the cybercrime and the cybersecurity is booming in the world, and your CERT is not sending you alerts regularly, you can ask questions. And also, you have, as I said, it's about resources. It's about resources. If we take if we consider that cybersecurity is a major point for our development and for our countries, we need to have the resources to allow the agencies we created for that to work. If they don't have the resources, they won't be able to work. And also, it's not only about that, it goes farther than the agency. You have the training. If you want all the companies as Mr. Laikana said, to perform a pen test twice a year, you need to have enough private companies or enough consultants locally to be able to offer those services. So it's a major thing. You just have you don't have to see the pictures from only one angle. You have to see it. You need to build something not just from only one point. And for that, even if we signed those conventions, regional or convention, we need to have the resources for that. And there are ideas for that, to create the resources. There are ideas for that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Cheikh. So, Mr. Eloge, so for you, what are the responsibilities of public and private sector?
Okay, I hope that you hear me. Okay, thank you, Mr. Laikana. I don't know if after the speech of Mr. again, Cheikh, I have also something else to add, because he was mostly clear on the responsibilities. But I think the only point I can add on that is we need also on the public sector area to work on a kind of assurance, okay, to protect the asset. I think as now today for a car or for anything else, even for the house, we are pushing to have, and it's come like mandatory to have an insurance. I think that for the public sector also, they need to work on that aspect, or government need to push to have a kind of cyber insurance for the protection. And we need really to create a culture, cybersecurity culture. This one is really missing, and it's something for me, I can add it in the responsibilities which have been already shared by Cheikh. And on the private side, for me, what is important is to continue developing a kind of norms and best practices which are going to help on that. And we need to understand that primarily the security is for us. It's not only for people working on IT space or on technology space, but you have it everywhere. And cyber is not only linked to technology. So basically, for me, above what have been said by Cheikh, we need to rework on the private side on the norms. and work also in terms of how we can help in terms of education, workforce for the education, and developing policies. I think that this has been already bring by Sheikh, and also Jean-Robert also has been shared also a view on that. So basically, this is what I can add about what has been said by Sheikh.
Okay, thank you very much, Eloge. So I want to ask a question to Fabian. So, Mr. Fabian, do you think that Africa investing enough in research and development for that in that sector?
Okay. I have not a knowledgeable idea on how Africa is investing on the R&D in terms of cybersecurity. For what I know is that there are some couple of activities that are being done across the Africa's nations, where we have some, for example, we have some infrastructure building in some of the country, like in Cameroon, where the state built a public key infrastructure for the country. They also having a kind of cybersecurity incident response team for the government organizations as well. And there are a couple of investments that are being done in terms of awareness and training to schools and other companies that are within the information security area. In terms of investing in R&D for cybersecurity, I think the investment is still to be improved. For now, the government are most relying on people getting trained on the different framework. As you know, most of the African security, they are getting their training from the global standard, like you will have the CISSP, the CISM, and they have all the standards coming from the other continent as well. But those are being in use to even enhance what is needed per each and every country. And each and every African people can also bring their contribution to the development as well. But for now, they just rely on the existing solution. We have a couple of companies who are making a difference around it. I remember there is a Tunisian company who is proposing some solution like CM solution as well, like mobile security solution. They are doing some mobile security development solution, and they are working only with African people across all the countries in Africa. It is an initiative that was initiated by an African, working only with African. But I'm not seeing the public sector investing that much on that area. Even with the private company, it's still something that is not yet embedded on even their plan on having some in-house research and development for even improving the security of the environment. They will always rely on what is being done abroad on the solution that already exists. Then my point is that we really need to, Africa really need to have the push from the public sector, from our different government, to see how we can support any initiative on making sure that we bring our own solution for our continent context.
Okay, great. Well said, Mr. Fabian. So the same question to Siddiq. Is Africa investing enough in R&D?
Thank you. In my point of view, no, I'm not. I don't see in the different with the different consultants, the different companies, some investments we can clearly help the development of Okay, excuse me. Is it okay now? Okay. So as I said, I don't see enough investments about the cybersecurity for Africa. If I take the private sector, you have just some big telecom company who invest a lot into the cybersecurity ecosystem. You have sometimes some banks, as you know, you have you heard about many attacks about the infrastructure of some banks. You have also many attacks about some mobile money companies. As you can see that we need again more investments about the cybersecurity in Africa company. It's in this place. I just take the private sector. If I take the public sector, the state is also we are also a big issue about the public sector because we don't have enough investment on the public sector. You have some, I cannot talk about some public organisms we face of many attacks, and in sometimes when you check, you just see that we have many equipment we missed, or the equipment is not up to date, or sometimes you have some good equipment, but also I can say that the configuration is bad. So I think that we need to help the government, the public sector need to help the private sector to invest a lot on the formation of many consultants, to have good consultants in cybersecurity. And after that, we need also to help those consultants to have some as I can say in English, to have some markets to help them to develop themselves. So I think we need to have more. We have more to do into the cybersecurity ecosystem in Africa to help.
Okay, thank you, Siddiq. Chakoma just said in the chat box that Talent is invested in the song for corporate client. And thank you, Chakoma, for that. Okay, so let's move to Jean-Robert. So Jean-Robert, today we have a lot of standards. So we have ISO 27001, we have PCI DSS for card merchant. For example, PCI DSS is compulsory in our region. It's compulsory for all the banks. Okay. For example, the Jim UMWA required now all the banks to be PCI DSS compliant. If not so, there will be some, they will have some problem. Some of them can, cancel the agreement. Okay. So also we have a lot of standards that we all know. So today, do we need cybersecurity standards based on our realities? Do you think that, Jean-Robert?
Okay, that's an interesting question that also cross the different topics that we have been discussing about, right? Related to spurring innovation, related to the relationship between the government and all the other stakeholders, related to fostering public and private partnership. But let me take an example to answer your question. Let's take the example of traffic lights. Red mean global. It's basically a global standard. Red mean red everywhere. You can decide in your cyber domain or your ecosystem that red for you means, instead of stop, means move ahead. But at some point, you get to explain that for people to understand what you mean. The point that I'm making is that there was an agreement with the observation that some of the existing framework don't work for the continent, or at least need to be adapted to realities. And it's because of socio-economic priorities, cultural norms, and understanding, and even the threat landscape that is different. And that reminds me even a discussion that was held a few years ago at the ITF about the size of African network and about defining standard for fiber-related network, while major of the infrastructure in the African continent use mobile technology. So yes, at some point, we may want to have some framing of the existing standard to the local context. What I will say related to your question is that at some point we want to all have the same version of the truth, and we need to make sure that we are not moving away from that. What I mean, the same version of the truth, is that if we define some requirements, we need to have those requirements understood by everybody, all the stakeholders collaborating around that specific infrastructure. I believe that collaboration being key, building bridge to communicate information in such a way that we understand the same thing is important. Therefore, whatever we develop in the continent as standard, we want to explain that, what it means for everybody to understand the message. Having said that, I believe that it will be more beneficial for African colleagues to join standard making bodies and inject our specificity for the establishment of global framework instead of desolidarizing because we have some specific requirement or we have some specificity due to our socio-economic priorities, and detach for the global environment to do our own things. So that's how I will answer your question.
Okay, thank you very much. So for you, Africa will have to join the standard bodies and contribute, not to desolidarize,
yes,
right?
Contribute and make our priorities heard in those standard making bodies.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your feedback about this question. And I want to ask this same question to Sheikh. Sheikh, are you there?
Yeah, please, I cannot go on, please.
Yeah, so I said that the same question for you. Do we need cybersecurity standards based on our realities?
Coming to cybersecurity, I think that regarding standards, we have standards working. And in my opinion, talking about standards based on our environment doesn't make them standards anymore. Because if we're talking about standards, at least if we were part of it, of the design, on the works of those standards, we would assume that we are falling under that. In my opinion, probably on the deployment while working to make our infrastructure or our application or our use cases compliant to those standards, this is the most important point. In my opinion, we don't really need to change again those standards. You know, there are few interesting points I need to mention. Recently, one of our customers wanted to know what were his options, security options, regarding securing the SS7 signalization of because it was a mobile operator, because he wasn't very comfortable of the solution offered by the vendors he knew. And we noticed that there were not enough solution available for that. And because he told us he had a lot of applications using only USSD and you know, all those GSM signal based. And the fact is that the ones available were much more dedicated to the IT, to the cyber, and it was different. So he wanted us to find those, and we noticed that we didn't have enough on that. So you see that in our region, a mobile operator working on a solution will focus more to secure those parts of its infrastructure. Maybe it's not the same in other parts, but at least it falls under a standard, a known standard. All of those standards we know. You see, we just, that's why, in my opinion, we don't have to change the standards. We just have to know exactly how we are working to be compliant to those standards. And this is where I think we need to focus, because creating new standards, for me, it's not optimal. This is my opinion on that.
Thank you very much, sir, Sheikh. So we don't have enough time, so I will go quick. So I have a question, especially to Mr. Eloge. Okay, so nowadays in European Union, they are talking about digital sovereignty. So my question for you: does the road to seek digital sovereignty of Africa pass through innovation in the cybersecurity ecosystem?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Laikaba. I think again, when I was in one of the panel for the CAF, the cyber activity in Africa, which are happening a few days back, I think one of the points we're busy discussing is that how the digitization is really having an impact on the cyber security or cyber crime or cyber all the threat related to the cyber. So we can see for those people in the industry of telecom that the increase of the data, of the utilization of the data today has significantly really have an impact in even the way we are behaving, so that we can say that technology can really reform how people interact. And for us is totally clear, which means that even you can find people in the street using all those WhatsApp or Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. You'll be surprised. And you see that even the kid today even start even at 3 or 5, being really captivating by the fact that they are seeing videos they can use and play with iPad and whatever. So I would say that for me, what is important in that area of innovation is basically that if we are innovating on the digital space side, that means that in the same time, parallel of that, we need also to definitively innovate in the cyber security space. Because at the end of the day, if you are not innovating, it means that someone else will do it on your behalf. That's true. And you don't have choice. You have already today, you have all the AI, which is really one of the powerful tools we can use. And even you will see that even the cybersecurity solution we are having today, most of them are using big data, are using AI, are using only those new technology. So that is playing a very big role, and you could not subtract ourselves from that. This is really what I will really mention on that.
Okay, thank you very much for your feedback. So, Fabian, I have a question for you, and I need you to answer to this question in 1 to 2 sentence. And this question will be, yeah, I will go straight to the question. What is the key for you? What is the key to shift from consumer to innovator or creator in cybersecurity ecosystem, of course?
Yes, thank you, Laikana, to come to me for this one. Giving a quick answer only to 1 second is just a challenge for me. However,
sorry, it's because of the times. Sorry for that.
I know the key action is we are actually what we are actually doing in having this forum is one of the key action, so that if we're having more people attending this kind of session, they will be aware that there are some subject matter experts who understand the area of cybersecurity, and they will also have knowledge on what is being done around the cybersecurity area as well. And the other thing is about making sure that we prioritizing budget as well for the security, because for most of the time we are still looking on how to gain money, how to have our food to eat. We are not focusing on securing our infrastructure or our whatever we have. We don't focus on securing them. Then it's just a mind shift, because security is everyone's matter. And if it is a mind shift, then if we're shifting our mind, then we can start doing some innovation around information security. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, my last question. My last question is for each panelist. So you will have to answer that question as quickly as possible. So I'm a dreamer, for sure. I'm a dreamer. So my question to you, tell me, do you think that one day we can have an African cybersecurity solution on the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and how? See, this question, I want Jean-Robert to answer to this question first, and we will go after that to Shekumar and so on and so forth. So, Jean-Robert?
Yes, so let's dream together. It looks like it's not something that is impossible. It is possible. And we have seen, so let's go quickly, right? We have seen with the COVID pandemic that when policymakers and governments remove barrier and create the environment to spur innovation, it works. That's one key thing. The second is that we see more and more African technology makers and also African competing at the international level, despite their very limited resources, competing at the international level with key organization. I had recently the opportunity to meet an African who has developed and deploy a whole cloud-related environment, coding from scratch, all single piece. of the component to make that infrastructure and the data center work. So it's not that we don't have the talent. The talent out there. We also have the support for the African diaspora. So I believe that with the right mindset and also the environment to grow and to do things, we will get there.
Thank you very much to dream with me. So it means that I'm not crazy. So, Shekoma, can you answer this question?
Yes, coming to that, we are all dreamers at some level. It's that's very interesting. And just like what I say, I've seen in the last couple of years, few Africans from the diaspora working on very interesting solutions. And what I've noticed and what I found interesting is that those skilled Africans are coming back to the continent with their solution. I have one of them in mind. He's originally from Burkina Faso, but is working in Canada as a very good solution, smart scan in cybersecurity, and he's coming back to the continent. He has plans to deploy on the continent, and this is something interesting. And seeing solution like that one gives me hope that maybe it's not originally coming from here, but it's developed by someone who's thinking about the continent, who's thinking about stepping foot on the continent and maybe addressing some of the most close issues for his solution. So why not? Yeah, this is something interesting. And I'm also optimistic while looking at countries like Nigeria, like Kenya, like South Africa. I'm seeing very good things emerge from there. And I'm optimistic, saying that, yes, we'll get a solution tailored for us, solutions able to go out of the continent and maybe climb on the Gartner. Why not?
Thank you very much, Sheikh. Siddiq, what's your point of view?
Like Anna, I have the same point of view that the two first panelists. I think it's clearly possible for Africa to be on the Gartner if we improve the utilization of the open source solution. I think the usage of the open source, the massive usage of the open source solution will be the key for Africa to be on the Gartner with security solution, from my point of view.
Thank you very much, Siddiq, the master of open source solution. So, Eloge Bionao, can you dream with us?
Okay, thank you very much, Laikana. I will say, first of all, what is important is that nothing is impossible, independent on us and how we want things to happen. I met someone one day who came to be recruited, and just when I hear his story, I told him that I think your place is not here. You are better than what you think you can achieve. And he was being surprised. 2 months later, he called me and said that I opened my company and I saw that things are moving from what I have seen. So sometimes we are just undervalue ourselves. And I think that Africa regorge or has a lot of plenty skills, and people can really achieve what they can. It's just a matter of mindset change, attitude, and be just confident and say to yourself that I can achieve what I want. So I think that for me is obvious. There is no way even to say that we are dreaming, but it will happen.
Thank you very much. Fabian, can you have your feedback?
Yes, the birth is the path to maturity. And if you want to reach maturity, you still need first to exist as a person. And I will say it for the case of information cybersecurity. I will say it for information cybersecurity, where in Africa we start seeing some initiative around, with people starting doing some kind of innovation, putting some solution for some of the company, and we even having a raise of information security company in Africa, in the Africa area as well. Then I think that I'm really aligned to see in the coming years, in the coming years, one Africa or many Africa's company within the Gartner Magic Quadrant. I'm a dreamer, and I'm sure that it will happen.
Thank you very much for all your responses. Thank you to all the speakers for all the response, for your brilliant intervention. Thank you very much. So I think that we will go now to the Q&A session. Okay, so some questions from the participants. So I think, Tola, can I go now to this session quickly? Okay, well, I will go straight to that. Okay, so I have a question from one participant, from Dr. Jameson Olufoye. So this question is to know, are private sector association or groups relevant in enhancing Africa's positive contribution to the African global cybersecurity ecosystem? I don't know, just speakers, if you heard this question, who want to answer to this question? Let's say, okay, Shakumar, can you answer?
Yes. Thank you for the question. For what I understand, if private groups can enhance the contribution, I think that unfortunately, for what I know so far, for example, in Burkina Faso, we have a kind of association of ICT-related companies, not only with focus on cybersecurity, but for the problem I notice is that those companies are much more focused about their business, how the global policing has influence on their business, is not about how they can contribute. And I'm not, and you don't have only companies on cybersecurity, at least in Burkina Faso. Why? Because even if this is a topic on which we all see the importance, it's still a little new. So you don't have so many players in cybersecurity. And as I said, we had those public agencies that need to get more power, to get more influence on the field. So the contribution of the private sector is closely tied to the importance also of the public organizations in place. So if you want to have, private organizations or private companies, association, very strong in order to have a stronger contribution, we also need to have the right policy. We need to have the right key person just from the government in front. This is how I see it. But from the time being, for me, it doesn't exist as it should. This is what I think.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikh. I think that Eloge want to answer this question. Over to you, Eloge.
Okay, so thank you very much. And about what Sheikh was saying, I think definitively is a very good question. But together today, what we can do is just to have a kind of framework which need to be defined clearly in terms of cybersecurity for those I would say that private sector. And as sometimes there is a kind of I would say cahier de charge, which is a kind of requirement document which has been given to some of the companies. It should be part of all that. For me, a clear policies need to be in place so that it really force all those private sector to invest, even also to invest or to have a kind of department which is related to a cybersecurity area, and also having some norms which have been defined across, I will say that the country. So it's really important that, and what we were also saying that is the mindset change, because talking about the private sector, it needs to start first of all by ourselves. So if individual at our individual level, we start really changing our mindset, it will really help us also to develop that even at the private sector side. So this is just a contribution I can add on what have been said by Sheikh.
Thank you very much for your response. So another question from Dr. Jensen. So how do we encourage our public leaders to take leadership in cybersecurity seriously, vis-a-vis putting regulation and laws in place, considering that only 8 of 55 countries have cybersecurity strategies? Jean-Robert, can you ask this? Can you give answer to this question?
Yeah, I can provide some input in that. So I think that you want my video. I think that when we talk about cyber capacity building, there are 4 pillars, and those 4 pillars are defined by the GFC, the Global Forum of Cyber Expertise. There is a pillar related to policy and strategy, and in that one you have national strategy, assessment, confidence building measure, norms, cyber diplomacy, international law in cyberspace. The second pillar, or at least one of the pillars, is related to incident management and critical infrastructure protection. And on that one, you have the establishment of national computer emergency or computer security incident response team, cyber security exercise, and critical information protection, information infrastructure protection. The third pillar, one of the pillar, is related to culture and skills, where you have cybersecurity assessment, education and training, workforce development. And another pillar, or the fourth pillar, is related to standard, promotion of internet-related standard. We are having an interesting event here, where we are then discussing and raising the need to have a constructive dialogue among multi-stakeholders to discuss the need of the continent, to discuss the priorities, to set together the agenda that will drive cyber capacity development into the continent. And I believe that we need to bring that to the attention of the policymakers, and to make them accountable of implementing the different the different findings, or the different programs that are related to drive the improvement of cybersecurity related activities within the continent. It even reminds me that a few years ago, and in fact, it's a little bit surprising because in '98 at a conference in Cotonou, a framework that was put in place, and somehow I would say the community didn't put enough effort and energy to put that framework and that agenda into practice. What was discussed at that time was a call for government to set up a national framework and a sector coordination response which empower multi-stakeholder collaboration. The framework called for understanding the role of each stakeholders and empower them in the cyber ecosystem to foster a climate of stakeholder collaboration, public and private partnership, where the government will provide the law, assist with investment and building the climate for collaboration to build cybersecurity capacity, improve information sharing on threat and best practice, and explore innovative technology and approach to more effective cyber defense. While the government will empower the private sector champion of innovation and the research community to work together to assess those funding to innovate, building security into application and system and educate and raise awareness. And today I still believe in that. So I believe that the more we're having discussion event like this one, where we are joined together to discuss the way forward and bring those initiatives or even those thoughts that we have at the attention of the policymakers and invite them to join those discussions, join those dialogue, and also join international forums where, like, for example, the UN, OAWG, and others, there are many of them where those dialogues are being held. It will bring somehow a shift in the direction that we are all taking together to improve things within the continent. On this note, I would like to thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jean-Robert, for your answer. So I think that we don't have any other question. We have exceeded the allocated time, so sorry for that. So I think that it's okay. We don't have any other question. I'm checking that. So thank you for your intervention. Thank you for your different response. I want to apologize for Sheikh Omar. He has another urgent meeting, so he will have to quit. So over to you, Chairman.
Thank you, Laikana. Much appreciated for this, and thanks to the panelists. The discussion was very helpful and insightful. When I look at the points that were discussed, I got certain takeaways, and the takeaways was that on a very high level, in as much as there are some participation that is happening, especially on the level of the AU and UN, but there is not necessarily enough. There's lots of work that still needs to be done. We still need to really make a footprint into the space of cybersecurity. There is a lot of investment that needs to be done, either on both the that we have to do awareness, do a lot of training to get our capacity up. This is things that needs to be done, and there was a very a good idea I heard, which was saying we need to concentrate also on things such as open source. I think I'm a very avid person on open source. We have seen certain solutions, even Facebook, as we see it, is made on that backbone of open source. When you look at a lot of cloud solutions, OpenStack, OpenShift, and so they are made on the backbone of open source. It's a very good idea to actually have such going. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say I highly appreciate that our secretariat is asking also for a group photo if the panelists can actually turn on their video. You would like to get a group video going. I highly appreciate you. I highly appreciate your contribution into this webinar. Like Hannah, much appreciated for moderating this so well. I would like to extend that gratitude from Victor. Thanks to the panelists for giving us your expertise. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Eloge, can you turn on your video for a group photo?
Okay. Non, tu peux même tourner comme si tu vas à fond, tu connais, tu vois chez les choses, comment il appelle aussi.
Eloge, can you turn on your camera for a group photo? Oh, I think that he can't hear me. Okay, it's okay. He's there. Yeah. Thank you very much. So, Secretariat, you can take your photo.
We're good now. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Secretariat.
you. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Over to you. Should we close the session? I will give it back to you so that you can close. But thanks very much. Much appreciated to everyone involved in setting this up. I thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much to all the speakers, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you.
You.